The question is, how did I break the glass ceiling? Well, I worked in a very male-dominant industry. One of them, well, two of the companies were telecommunication companies, and one of them was a car company. Yeah, they were very male-dominant. I mean, besides the HR director, I was the only other female in the room in the senior leadership team. What did I do in order to, maintain and be the best in my field? Well, one of the things that I love to do is just learning. I love studying. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I love innovation. Hence the reason why I think I joined the telecommunications company. And later in our agency work, we help, I think, close to 40 tech companies get started in Thailand. So I just love reading and understanding and knowing how new things can improve the way that we work, the way we operate, the way that we think. I'm fascinated by the brain, neuroscience, the brain plasticity, and how we can rewire how we think and what we do. So this is something that I think has helped me. And generally, I really love the subject matter. So it's no big deal for me to read about it, listen to, YouTube videos or discussions or interviews. And I think that will help anybody, because sometime for some people, they think, oh, I already did my, high school, I already did my university work. However, I feel that in terms of continuing to move forward and being the best version of yourself is continuing to learn and evolve. And I hope that's helpful.
This is a very interesting question, talking about my industry being male dominated. Fortunately for me, when I kickstarted my career in HSBC, guess what? 95% were females. So we were the majority, not the minorities, right? So I never felt dominated from the start of my career. Yes, along the 20 years journey in my career, there were times when I felt, hey, how come men get it so easy? And we have to strive harder, put in maybe 3 or 4 times effort to get the same results as men, right? Because we have to be everything, right? We have to be a professional career woman. We have to be a homemaker. We have to be a mother. We have to be a wife, a great daughter. We have to do everything, right? So, but what I believe is very important is if we love and are passionate about what we do, then there is nothing that can sidetrack us. It doesn't matter if it's a male dominated or not. I've been fortunate. I don't face that circumstances much. I have that experience to back me now. So I do, I'm actually training males, and it all comes with experience. So ladies, don't fret. Your experience, your background, no one can take away that from you, and as you climb up the ladder, you will realize that. And that's what, you will be up there on the peak and you can actually share with everyone, including males in the industry. So go for it, woman.
Some advice for women aspiring to thrive in male-dominated fields. I think I might have some alternative thoughts on this question, actually. My mom, she studied physics at a time when she was like the only woman in the class, and she's incredibly strong, and she just understood how to play the game and beat the odds on just sheer grit and determination, hard work, and also dishing back out some of what she got. And that's one way. That this was 30 years ago, and I respect that, but she didn't have another choice. So I think now we're at a time where we have options. We can actually do better than to ingratiate ourselves to men in male-dominated fields. And so I think, actually, if I had one word of advice, it's to not lose yourself in trying to become like men. Because sometimes that's the quick win. Sometimes it works. Not going to argue with that. But I think we have so much more to offer as women, like as a woman doing things your way. And I would just say be unabashed about that. You know, stick up for what you believe in and be kind and be caring, be collaborative if that's what you want. Like a new world that's just and inclusive and diverse, it's not going to be built using the same tools that made this one.
That when you work in the men's industry, like construction business, right? In one time before I moving to this Thai company, I used to work in Lixil, Japan, and then I was regional marketing director, and a very challenging role because I'm taking care of like Southeast Asia. So not only taking care of the Thai team, but I also have to work with the country manager of like Vietnam, Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines. So it's about 6 major countries that I have to like taking care. So not when I was in the role for like 10 to 15 years, I think I know very well about the construction market, right? But then when I taking care of more markets, just find out that it's quite different because every country have the different building code. So you have to like very keep up on yourself in order to understand your team market and also to be able to support them or help them leading the market. Otherwise, if you know less than them, it would be very difficult or hard for them to believe what you said, right? So it's not only the field as well, but it's on the different context of the country that you're entering. Yeah.
For any women that may have some experience about male dominant field, for me myself, I never thought about male or female with industry must be male lead project or female. I think we are equal, and luckily I have never like been in the environment that there are some imbalance between us. So be yourself. How of being you is my advice, and just make the right decisions that you will respect yourselves. Do at what you want, but be respect to yourself.
I think hotels not really, because I work on my first job is in the hotels, 5-star hotels, support type office. We work with the international, but it's more like unisex, you know, like PR as front desk. But I guess the male-dominated situation environment is basically just in Norway, because I have to work with the male who Caucasian. They're very tall, they're very big. They're like a tiny chef has come to Thailand, and then, you know, like what's she gonna teach and what food have she taught us and all those. But then the things that you have to show that you have integrity of being a head chef. You know, it's not like to control them, to tell them I'm your boss, you know, because this is Thai cuisine. So what the heck you know about Thai cuisine? So not to be boastful about who you like, what experience you have, but it's just to be a good teacher. You know, when Scandinavian people or staff or European people would work in the kitchen, they don't know about Thai food, that you be a good teacher. You teach them and just tell them that this is a beautiful food. And after you teach, you prove that this is a beautiful food. Have you ever tried? And then, if you don't have ingredient, we'll have to have the attempt to get the ingredient and to make a real authentic Thai food as a fine dining in this kitchen. And once they respect you, then, you know, male or female, they all can work together. But it's, you know, but the one thing you got to be strong too. You got to be tough to actually convince those guys. So this is how I did in the kitchen, you know, because sometimes they can probably throw like the pan into the chef, and the chef, what are you talking about? So just make sure they respect you. and let everything go. You know, no matter you males or female, woman or man, in that position.
I think the strategies I've employed to, I think, gain respect and credibility in male-dominated environments, I think I would just say I did it my own way. And I think ultimately, and this is speaking from a place of privilege, I had the means to go out and spare doing a little bit more searching around. And I would recommend this for everyone. If you do have the time, the space, and a little energy to spare, to find the places that have worked to improve their diversity and inclusion practices already, and to accept nothing less. Because you can beat your head against the wall trying to convince men to give you a seat at the table, but frankly, there are spaces that will respect you, and they're going to invite you to the table that already has a significant makeup of women and people from marginalized identities. And if you do stay and you fight for that seat, like, I really respect that. And I just hope that people understand, like women understand, that there's an opportunity cost, and that if you fight too long, like you're missing out, you know? And just realize that there are other places that will respect your viewpoints and your expertise, and you won't have to fight for scraps. So I just urge you to seek out those places, because frankly, at this point in time, if you're at a company and organization that doesn't recognize the inherent value and also the business value of having women in positions of power and decision-making, they're not paying attention, and they aren't worth your time. So I think that's one thing I love about Impact Hub, is that it's like there's actually a majority of women on the board and in decision-making power. And this is, again, we're able to then explore what it's like to be women in leadership, and explore those types of ways of working that might not have been there had we been fighting and being on the defensive all the time. You know, we're able to push the boundaries of what's possible, and that is really beautiful.
Strategy to deal with male-dominated environments, and actually also with age-dominated environments, because I work largely with women, but some of them are very, very senior. And I guess you could add also like some strong male characters into that equation. They don't always regard younger people with credibility, because in ASEAN it's extremely hierarchical. So younger people have to be on a lower level. I always try to speak with or assert myself right from the start with authority. I ensure that everyone knows my credentials, they know my expertise. I am not afraid to promote myself. I don't let anybody speak over me. It can happen a lot here. When I use certain phrases to make a point, to give guidance, to make a suggestion, I always make sure that they come across, if anything, a little bit stronger than they should maybe. And I'm not afraid to correct people, even if they are older, even if they are more senior, in more senior positions than I am.
Okay, that's a very, very interesting question, because it's not even the environment, it's understanding males, the opposite sex, right? So sometimes as women, we need to take in and adapt to some masculine traits, right? One of them being, don't think that they know. You know, as women, we always assume like, okay, I think she understood what I meant. With men, you just have to tell them, you have to speak up. They are not going to make assumption until you speak up. So what I would suggest is, if you don't like something is not happening the way it should, or you want to give a recommendation, you just stand up and speak up, right? Because if you keep discontentment in your mind, it builds on. And what's going to happen is you're going to be more and more unhappier in your job, right? In whatever you do. And you're going to take that burden back home, and it's going to be reflected on your children, So I would say speak up, get it well dusted, and then walk out. At least you know that you have done the right thing and you have spoken up. So it's off, it's a relief. You take that burden off you. You know, that's just one example that I would say. You know, keeping it brief sometimes, just get to the point. Men just want it that way, you know. So yeah, understanding the dynamics of a male trait is very, very important, whether it's at work or outside work, right? We all are great in that. And I think women have that special quality, right? That we can become feminine and masculine at the same time, depending on time and situation. And that's what we should be leveraging, right? Whatever's our strength in that, we should leverage on that and overcome all the obstacles.
From India and coming from a generation where I was being raised, there was equality, but there was certainly a difference, especially in the periphery. Like, we have 2 daughters, and my parents were very content having 2 daughters. But, you know, in the background, in the backdrop, I knew sons are important to a few families. So, and a lot of things were like, okay, girls should not do this, and girls should not go out so late at night, and are you accompanied? Those differences I have seen. And in India, in those times, even to travel, you are breaking a glass ceiling. You know, most students, when they had I was doing my university in 90s, and if there were students who were meant to go out to travel, it was more boys who were allowed than the girls were allowed. So everything, you know, to get a permission was breaking a glass ceiling for us. To doing and following your heart was breaking a glass ceiling. Doing the subject I chose, but I didn't want to do science. And that also was a fight, that I don't like the subject and I want to do arts. And it was like, you're bright, why are you doing arts? So, you know, that kind of glass ceilings were always being broken. But now, with my age and past maybe 10 years, I don't think that, you know, I don't take the pressure of breaking any glass ceiling. I just be myself. And, you know, if you're yourself, you're anyway breaking ceilings. It doesn't need to be that defined glass ceiling. You know, you're always breaking some mold or the other. Like, if I don't want to socialize a lot, I'm somehow breaking a mold even with a lot of women. So if I say, okay, no, I don't want to just be all the time in a social gathering, that also becomes a taboo. So every time, just being yourself, we don't realize subconsciously we're breaking a lot of ceilings. But what is important is to be true to your grain and to develop yourself and just be yourself.
I remember one sentence that I read and I really appreciate. It said that biting off more than you can chew is not a reason to lower your own standard in order to move forward. So what it means is just do what, like I mentioned, do what you can with what you love, and be respect to others. Be humble, but shine in your way.
Part of it I probably mentioned in the last answer. You have to be, how would I say? You have to really show what is your talent, what is your strong points. You know, like to prove that, you know, what experience you have, what the knowledge you have. To show them that either you will be colleague, or you will be boss, or you will be like colleagues or senior or junior in that environment. Whatever you accept in that position is your responsibility to work. And also, it's not like to prove yourself so much, but just to show that which is you. It's, for example, this is Alyssa. It's a chef Alyssa, right? So I'm a chef in Thailand, and I prove and I have the attempt to cooperate with you, to work with you as a team, and let me do it and see how we can work together. Or if I look their seniors, I will teach them and make sure that you know, whatever the performance or the product that we produce in the team is already proved that you are a specialist, you know. Sometimes it's just that I don't want to say the word prove, because otherwise women's gonna prove so much to have male acceptance. But with the proof is meant, I would turn into to let them respect you, to show them that this is what you're attracted to, what you wanted to do. Once they respect you, believe me, you know, that work is gonna be very smooth, and the team spirit is gonna come, and be fair. I think that would be criteria that I have.
I'm where I felt that my gender was a factor was when I had built up this enterprise Europe network office in the UK. I had done it by myself, and it reached the heights. And then following that, the team grew. We had several different people, and there was a time to appoint the leader of the team, someone to manage the team. And I did not get picked for this job, although I did put my hands up. I was told afterwards that I was because I was too young. Although that didn't make sense either, because I was the most experienced person in the team, although I might have been a bit younger than some of the other people, but they had never done this job before. However, afterwards, I actually found out that it wasn't because I was too young, it was because I was a non-British female. And the person who got the job, who got the team leader job, was a very, very British male. Although he hadn't been doing the job for a very long time, and he didn't have a very good understanding of this job. So I lucked out because of my gender, because of my nationality. I did kind of go along with it. I tried to be as cooperative as I could. I took on some management responsibilities. I did mentoring and training, but that was all unofficial. I had no decision-making capacity. So at the end, as I didn't see any career progression for me there, I just decided to leave.
A lot of people would think that to have the ladies sales team or salesman is easy for opening or knocking the door to get it open for the designer or consultant. But I don't want them to look at only the surface of the job, right? Because we not only being like the pretty girls or the event manager, but I think that to be like one of the management team, I think that the reason that they respect me because like I go everywhere with them. So like, for example, like I said before on the expanding the market outside Thailand, I also go to the business trip with the sales team. And even like up country, like we have the projects or the activity last time in Phuket, or not only the good cities, but sometimes small city like Nakhon Sawan, or sometimes we have the customer doing the farm, the CP group, right? It's a very long way from Bangkok, like you have to go by drive like 3 or 4 hours. So I try to spare some time to go with them. So at least they know that if they have some problem, they can get some help. And then I really understand what they're suffering with.
So what happened was I was offered to be chapter head of a movement called Women Power a Global Movement, which was started by Mr. D.K. Bakshi, and this movement existed in 27 countries. So he said that, would you like to be the chapter head of Thailand chapter? And I said, yeah, why not? And then a very dynamic lady called from Women TV, she approached me and she said that, would you like to be the country ambassador for Women TV? And I said yes. So I bought them both under my umbrella, and I founded We Women Network. So the principle of We Women Network is it's a very voluntary movement where I want women. Now in Thailand, all women stay in our factions because there is a huge outpour of expat women. We are all in our little faction, and here women come together on a platform. And if whoever has some talent, we have workshop once a month. So that woman doesn't get any money, and people who are watching don't pay money to go through the workshop, but she gets a platform, and then she can use that for her business. And this is not only for business women, this is also for homemakers. There is no disparity because most successful careers men have here because their women are supporting them. But there comes a time that they start feeling very useless because in foreign country, it's not very easy to acquire a job. It's a challenge, for a lot of reasons, for linguistic, for language as a barrier, for age, for so many things. So this We Women Network is purely for that basis, to celebrate that sisterhood. So once a month, on every third week, we have this workshop, and now we are full till June. So it's so nice when I attend these workshops and I see these things happening, and it's totally voluntary. I have two very dynamic women, Lynn Howard and Sky, who are on advisory board. One is American, one is Thai, and they help out a lot. And so we organize these things, these workshops, and we encourage women to look for a place, because there's no money involved, as if they can, and they can look for a place and conduct the workshop, and we're all there. And we have a WhatsApp group. We have about 250 women there. So women advertise, whether they are caterer, whether they're selling jewelry, whether they are into business, they can advertise there and spread the word around. And that's how we do. And Sky, Lynn is member of a club. Most of the time we are having this over there, these workshops over there. And it's very interesting. And what is very nice is it's not just Indians or Americans, or it's people, European, all kinds of women are there, and they all come, and we all bring our little light. We all women have that little light in us, and we can do amazing together. And this is what I genuinely feel.